This game will tell us everything we need to know about the Birds. Yo, by the way, kick dig back here, and so the Eagles Monday night game is going to turn out to be the biggest game of the year, and I don't just say that because it's the biggest game of the year. It's because this is going to tell us, in my opinion, is this the 2023 Eagles or is this the 2024 Eagles? How they respond is going to tell us everything we need to know, because that effort versus Chicago, it just wasn't good enough. Let's face it. And a lot of us had visions of what happened a few years ago when they collapsed. And I don't think this team is there. I think this team is going to respond, and they are going to respond with a vengeance, okay? And I'm going to be honest, a lot of it has to do with what I saw out of Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is the great equalizer to the media's spin and to the narratives get put out there in some of these crazy stories, because we saw Jalen Hurts take responsibility, take ownership on the field, talk to his players, communicate, which is the opposite of what everybody has been saying in all these reports that have been coming out. It just doesn't hold water. So to me, I have a lot of hope in this game this week. But in order for the Eagles to get going, some things have to get figured out, and they have to happen. First thing I want to talk about was, unfortunately, Darius Slay is not going to be an Eagle. Adam Schefter reported sources, former Steelers and Eagles cornerback Darius Slay was claimed today off waivers by the Buffalo Bills. Slay now goes from playing against the Bills last week to being part of the team this week. Can you imagine what probably is the last game or last season of your career you get cut and claimed on waivers? I didn't even know that somebody that had been in the league as long as him could even be put on waivers. I thought you were an immediate free agent once you got cut. So that was a little bit surprising, but it is what it is. Now, we had rumors that the Eagles were talking or interested in bringing back Slay. Nothing definitive. I thought it would have been a good get for the Eagles. They just can't seem to get that one corner that could come in and help them. They tried with Jair Alexander. They were hoping to get a chance with Darius Slay. It just didn't work out. So we're stuck with Torrey Jackson. And we're just going to have to deal with it. Jacorian Bennett, he hasn't been good enough, so they're not going to use him. I guess they've given up on him at this point. So the secondary is going to continue to have the same problems that it's had. One thing that could get a little bit better, and I mean just a little bit, all right? But we could see maybe somebody at safety besides Sidney Brown this week, and that's a good thing. Jeff McClain reported that Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio said that Marcus Epps is in contention to start at safety this week. Epps' practice window was lifted yesterday. Fangio said that Sidney Brown was up and down like most of the defense versus the Bears. I just don't think he's the guy. I like Sidney Brown personally, but I just don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the starting safety, and I think he is a problem out there, especially in pass coverage. Now, Marcus Epps, I used to call him Marsh Epps when he was here, so I don't think he's that much better, but I think, well, I shouldn't say that. I think he's probably significantly better. But, my cats are going crazy. But, you know, he is what he is. He's not Makuba. I don't believe he's a star in the league, but I think he is better than Sidney Brown. So, look for Epps to start and play this week. That could be a good thing for the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, there's talk that Lane Johnson is closer to coming back than many of us thought. So that's another good thing. And this team has got to get healthy. They've got to get healthy. And I mean, specifically from the offensive line, of course, other positions, but they got to get healthy and they got to get this thing right. To me, out of all the problems that we've heard, all the complaining about the coach, all the complaining about the offensive coordinator, all the complaints about the quarterback, the receivers, everything you hear, to me, the biggest problem this year has been the offensive line. The offensive line and that running game, I think, is the biggest problem. People said, oh, well, Jalen Carter's been the biggest disappointment. No, the offensive line has been the biggest disappointment for me because I don't know, and I still just can't fathom how you have a Hall of Fame offensive line coach. You have a offensive line that literally sent a running back for 2,000 yards last year. How do you go from that to we can't run the ball? We're up 21-0 on Dallas, and we can't run the ball. I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy, and I think that's the number one thing that has to change, and it has to change this week, okay? This game, like I said, this is a huge game. This is a huge game for the Eagles, and when you look at the NFC pictures right now, the Eagles, they're the third seed. They're the third seed, and you have the Bears, the first seed. You have the Rams, the second seed, and I don't think it's going to end up like that in terms of the seeding. I think the one seed will be the Eagles or the Rams. But the Bears, they beat us. They have a tiebreaker. They do have some tough games. I think they still got 2 games with Green Bay. One of them is this Sunday. That should be really interesting. But they got some tough games left. But right now, the Eagles stand as the number 3 seed. I think it's very important to get that 2 seed because then you're at least 2 home games, and that's very, very important. And what's also very, very important, a quick word from our sponsor. I'm done with all the shopping, chopping, and cleaning, and spending all these hours of prepping a meal when I can get the Factor. That's right, the Factor. Fresh, never frozen meals that ship right to your door and are ready in 2 minutes flat. That's right. We're talking pasta, we're talking meatballs, we're talking roasted veggies, we're talking about 30 to 50 grams of protein, 0 refined sugars, 0 seed oils, 0 garbage, just really good food that actually tastes insane. Keto, high protein, vegan, calorie smart, doesn't matter what your goal is, they've got 100 plus new options every week, built by dietitians, so you win. No prep, no mess, just heat it, eat it, and keep moving. All you have to do is head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Philly500 FB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus a free breakfast for 1 year. That's 1 year. That's code Philly500 FB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus a free breakfast for 1 year. Offer valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto renewing subscription purchase. Right now, go out and check Factor 75. So where the Eagles are at number 3, you would think 8-4, you're sitting there, you're okay, everything's going to be all right, but it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that with this team. It feels like they're at the crossroads of, hey, we are going to go out and we are going to fix things and we are going to get this season going in the right direction. The Eagles haven't even played their best football yet. They haven't. Can you imagine if this team gets going? They will be scary. They would be scary. And I don't know. I mean, we haven't won enough Super Bowls to know. How is it supposed to go a year after winning a Super Bowl? It can't ever be easy. Teams go through ups and downs. Teams lose games. Teams don't get the home number 1 seed. But they find a way to get back to the Super Bowl when it matters. This team has that in them. I truly believe it. And I believe it will be on display versus the Chargers. Now, the other part of it is we have seen them collapse, and we have seen them do it epically. That's also in there. Will that come out? I don't know. But we're going to find out, and I think this Chargers game is to me, this is it. This is the game. If the Eagles go out and lose, let's say they lose bad to the Chargers, I don't think they might win one more game the year. It's going to be that kind of collapse. They're capable of collapsing. They're also capable of winning the Super Bowl. It's just one of those things. And this game, to me, has all the makings of telling us which one it's going to be. As far as this game goes, Herbert may play, may not play. He had a surgery in his non-throwing hand. He has some screws, I think a plate in there. He says the plan is to play. If I'm the Eagles and Fangio, I got to go at him. I got to go at him, and I got to make his life miserable. You got to go and attack him. So that's going to be something to watch. We'll talk more about that in the preview prediction video that will be out tomorrow. But as far as this team goes, if you said to me, what's the key to getting the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl, to get this team playing at a high level? What's the key when you can't fire your offensive coordinator, because they're not going to do that? You're not going to get rid of your coach. You're not going to bench the quarterback. You're not going to do all these crazy things everybody keeps talking about. So how do you fix it? And to me, the one thing that I think they're capable of doing, and they've got to figure it out because they haven't done it good, but I think it's in them. I think they can figure this out. If they can fix this run game, if they can get this run game as a team to start being effective, then I think everything on offense will look a whole lot better, and then they'll start scoring points, they'll start running the ball, they'll start being able to do the things that they want to do. That 21-0 debacle against the Cowboys, I mean, you realize they're up 21-0, and they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball at all that game. And if they could have killed a ton of clock, and they never would have lost that game. But the inability to not be able to run the ball is this team's biggest problem. The offensive line is this team's biggest problem. Yes, you have problems at offensive coordinator. Nobody's saying you don't. You have problems, with the receiver not happy about getting catches. Okay, fine. Some people want to blame and say you have problems with the quarterback. I don't think that's as much of a deal. I think he's more a product of an offense who's over-conservative. We have all those problems, even though Hurts didn't play good the last few games. He's got to pick it up. But my point is that all that stuff will fall into place if you can just run the ball. That is the key to this team going forward. That's the key to the rest of the year. Get yourself running the ball again. I'm not saying Hurts got to go for, 1,200 yards in 5 games. I'm saying that get this running game to be effective. Start using Tank Bigsby. Give him 10 carries a game. If you have to add more RPOs, do it. I do not believe the rumors that Hurts doesn't want to run the ball and he's not letting them. After watching that Hard Knocks, a lot of these stories, a lot of these things that you hear, it's very hard to believe because what I saw was the exact opposite. I saw a quarterback take responsibility, was willing to do anything he had to do to win a game. So I don't believe that. So yes, the key right now is get that running game going. And it's not an easy job versus the Chargers. I mean, let's just be honest. It's not going to be. But that's the key. That's what we have to focus on right now. Being better, executing, being better, because you're stuck with the coordinator you have. You're stuck with the coaches you have. You're stuck with the philosophy offensively that you have. So you might as well execute better. That's the key to it all. I will have my preview. Whoa, did you hear those jets? All hell's breaking loose. But anyways, I guess the big mother humping spaceship is here. I gotta go check it out. But I will be live tonight for the Detroit-Dallas game. Dallas Cowboys fans already thought they won. They said I think Mark said he's not even watching because he thinks they already won. But no, I'll be live. The Cowboys Meltdown Cam is here because we are on watch. It is Cowboys Meltdown season. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, It's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. I went outside to check to see what that was, and I swear there was this silver thing in the air. It just floating, and it just dissolved. I don't know if that, like, did I manifest that? Did that happen? How did that happen? Was that there? Was that what they were chasing if you heard the planes? I have no idea. But I love this shit. Denzel Washington out. People been asking me, when you got more shakedown merchandise coming out, Philly 500? Well, guess what? It's Christmas time, and it's time. We got a bunch of new stuff. Shout out to Digital Print House. Shout out to Omar who worked on this stuff. But it looks great, fabulous. I'm going to get some of my own stuff for holiday gifts. Check the link in the description and go get yourself some of that Philly Shakedown merchandise. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.